Hey there, Holy Family. It's time for another episode of Getting to Know the Family. Welcome back. I'm Scott Thomas, your host, and this is Getting to Know the Family, the show where we get to know you, the parishioners of Holy Family Parish here in San Jose. I'm sitting outside in front of our community center because my next guests really make me think about community. Holy Family is one of the most diverse communities I've ever been a part of. Our parish has many cultures represented. And so many years ago, we decided to start a multicultural celebration. And Ed and Juanita Cruz were instrumental in that. Nita was the first chair of the multicultural celebration. And so come along with me as we get to know Ed and Juanita Cruz. Well, welcome, Ed and Nita. We're glad to have you on Getting to Know the Family. Typical question I start kind of every interview with is, how long have you been part of Holy Family?
We started here middle part of 79, so summer. So we'll be like over 40 years.
42 years.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long-time parishioners.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of change over the years, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. The time it was not diocesan, it was still Jesuit.
Which one? Yeah. First, we attended this Maria Gorete for a while. Then, while we were driving here, I heard some singing, and I thought it was a Baptist church. So I found out it was a Catholic church run by the Jesuits.
Because they were singing?
Yeah. So we transferred, we tried it, and we liked it. At the time, there was no school yet, so my children went to St. Mary's in downtown San Jose. They were still sisters living back there, retirement home. So that's where we started here. I think Father, was the name of the Jesuit?
Tom Foster.
Tom Foster was the pastor at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have the two of you been married?
This will be our 53rd years.
53
years.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And where did you meet?
Where did we meet?
In Parma. Yeah,
Parma, Ohio.
It's really.
I knew you weren't from around here.
I was staying with my sister, and it's a funny story. I was babysitting with my girls, all my nieces, and there was a phone call, so I got a phone call. So that's how it started. We answered the phone, and they just arrived from the Philippines with their friend.
Okay. So you both
Yeah.
came from the Philippines to Ohio.
Right.
So what brought you to the United States?
Oh, well, I came over to teach. I was teaching in the Philippines at the time, but since I wanted to take graduate studies, I applied from home, and at the same time, I applied to a school in Parma. It's a Catholic school.
Nazareth Academy.
Nazareth
Run by
Academy.
sisters.
Yeah. So I came here to, after I studied at Cornell, to take home economics education and audiovisual education. I came over, Michigan State first, and then I moved over to Cornell, went home to teach, and then came back to teach again.
Okay.
So that started, and that's where I met him. Although in the Philippines, our place of birth are really close to each other, but we never met there. We met over.
Not at all.
Okay.
So he was. Where were you then? You were with
I was
Union
working
Carbide.
for Union Carbide. Union Carbide Corporation. I was working with the research, International Research Center, consider at the time over Snow Road.
Okay.
So we were working on battery research and development.
Okay. So are you an engineer by trade?
By academic, I'm an entomologist
Okay.
with in agriculture entomologist. But initially, I wanted to go to school in Columbus to take master's degree in entomology, but then didn't materialize. I got started working with the carbide, the research. So we stayed there for over 11 years, and in 79, I was hired by Ford Aerospace in Palo Alto.
Okay, that's what brought you to California.
Yeah, that's where we got the move.
Okay.
Yeah. When we when we came over here, I continued teaching, but as a substitute teacher to different school system, until after several months, I decided to try and apply working at Ford Aerospace, same company, and that's where I retired as a software configuration manager. So
How many years did you do that?
that was about 15 years.
Okay.
And I figured I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy our children and grandchildren, because I was seeing that with this stress of work, people start to get ill health, and no, I don't want to stay longer than what. So I decided to retire at that age, and we enjoyed. We were more busy now than when we were working after
I hear that a
retiring.
lot from retired people.
It's really
You get busier after you retire.
yeah, and you enjoy, of course, with the growing pains comes surgeries right and left, but I'm still here.
Praise God.
Yeah.
So what was it like for each of you growing up in the Philippines?
Well, just related to what we are doing now, it stems from how we were brought up by our parents. My father was a doctor, my mother was a pharmacist, and they are very religious and close to the church and the nuns where we grew up. I studied in a Catholic school all the way from elementary through high school. And from there, we have been brought up with what we are doing here now and what we are teaching our children, although some of them cannot be possible because of the situation and what we have available here. But I think one of the things that really brought us closer to what we're doing is how we were brought up by our parents.
Yeah, pretty much. My mom is sort of like an administrator in a church. I grew up in a place what we call in Spanish barrio, which is away from the town. So she was very active in the church. Whenever we have festivities, she will lead a group of women asking for donations for the church. And I guess pretty much the mother is, at least in our culture, is the foundation of Catholicism. She would teach us how to sign up the cross. And then during the Advent season, which we call Sibang Gabi, 4 o'clock, she will wake us up.
4 a.m.
4 o'clock in the morning. In the place where we were brought up, we didn't have electricity, so we have torch
Okay.
to find your ways, to
Find
go
your
to
way
church.
to the church.
Yeah.
Wee hours of the morning.
in the morning. And December by our standard is cold.
Okay.
So imagine, we're wearing a thick coat. And then most of the time, you're probably sleeping inside the church.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's how we were brought up, pretty much under the influence of our mom.
Okay.
So I could remember at 6 o'clock at night, no matter where we are, our house is right in front of the church plaza. And my brothers used to play basketball or whatever. At 6 o'clock when the church bell rings, he would also ring or call everybody, and our family would gather together and pray the Angelus and the Rosary. And I remember that no matter, we have to come home.
Yeah.
We have to come home and
It's
pray
a culture.
together.
6 o'clock, when you hear the bell, either stop where you are and pray or go home.
Okay.
Enjoy the family.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about that beautiful tradition of Simbangabi. So you were very instrumental in bringing that tradition here to Holy Family.
Yeah.
So what?
Way back in 2005,
Okay.
that was the time when we had the first Filipino priest, Father Engel, to join Holy Family. And I recall we were out in the parking yard with the Pachecos, Tessie and Nilo, and Santi Afrola, the 5 of us. We were just talking, would it be nice to introduce our Philippine tradition here now that we have a Filipino priest? And at the time, that was Father Matt Stanley as our pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So Father Engel came over and greeted us, and we gave him the idea, do you think it's possible? And he said, oh, I'll try to talk to Father Matt. And he went right, while we were still talking, he ran to the parish office, and then he was so excited, he came back and said, oh, he said, yes, we can do it, 5 o'clock in the morning, and nobody will be affected, nothing is going on. And I said, oh my God. So we figured, how can we do this? We don't even know how many Filipinos are in the parish. And at that time, we were still toying on the idea, where will we hold it? Either here in the church or somewhere. And I remember we started, no, we didn't start it here in the church, but we had this.
We did it here in the church. And then
we started
we had
church.
the, and
But
then
then
we had afterwards.
the fellowship was at the youth hall.
Yeah.
And it became very popular, and we said, we better have our choir, and we tried to practice in one of the homes of our members, Santi.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised if there were about 10 or 12 of us there. There are 10 or 12 different tones, and I said, no, this cannot be, it's a disaster. But then afterwards, we developed, and we had all volunteers, and all were excited to have that, because without the choir, the Mass will not be complete. Music goes with our liturgy. And then after maybe about 1 or 2 years of doing that, the crowd became so big that the youth hall was not big enough. So I asked Father Matt, or I can't remember whether it was Father Matt or
Still
Father Matt, if we could transfer to the community center.
Okay.
And 15 years later, it's still going strong, and they are always looking forward to that.
So for those that may not know what Simbangabi is, so it's
Simbangabi is a tradition of the Advent masses before Christmas. It's like a novena where
the nine
we
days
prepare
before
for the
Christmas.
coming of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And that is, it is a sacrifice for most of people because they wake up early, but it's an overwhelming sensation and feeling that you are doing this for Christ, because that this is nothing compared to what Christ did for us. And what more can you offer than all your sacrifices and everything that the liturgy will give everybody? And that is, when they asked me, what is Simbangabi, I could not explain to them in detail. You have to go there and experience it, and then they are hooked.
They're hooked. And the food is wonderful.
That's what I remember after the masses when I was growing up. We had fun, enjoying the food around us outside the church.
Okay.
Some they're free, some you can buy at a cheaper price, but that's the part of it. Enjoyment, especially the children.
Okay. And so in recent years, my recollection is you've also, because it's it's a lot of work to prepare food for such a large crowd, after the Mass. You've been involving other communities in the multicultural community to
They
kind
love-
of, kind of have emphasize, I guess would be the right word, a particular foods
They
of
love it.
culture.
They love it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them volunteer to bring food.
Some of them, it's like a pledge. And
Yeah.
they tell us, as long as I can afford and I can do it, I will do it. It's not for us, but it's for what it stands for.
Uh-huh.
And that is beautiful. I think it is.
Yeah.
So
So something else you've been very instrumental in is establishing our multicultural celebration that we do once a year. How did that come about?
God, the same year I was a member, at the time I was a member of the PAC, our Parish Advisory Council, and Jane Gans was our chairman or president, as we call it. And at that time, Father Matt had this 5-year plan for the parish. Little did I know that when she asked me, Nita, can you coordinate the multicultural celebration of the parish? I thought coordinating would be setting up chairs, fixing, making the room available and all that. And I said, sure, no problem. And I will give you the plan. And days later, she gave me a binder about that big, that thick, of the events, not only but the 5-year plan. And I checked what the multicultural celebration is all about. And I could not sleep or eat for days. I said, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And I prayed night and day. That's when the Holy Spirit works. I didn't know how. I really didn't know. And I was telling him, please tell me. I have to. And I said, how can we start this? I don't even know anybody, all the different ethnicities, multicultural, so that means different ethnic groups in the parish. I asked the office, can you tell me how many ethnic groups we have? They don't have any records. So how will I know? So prayed, and so we said, let us go this way. Maybe we can isolate one group at a time and then meet with them with the Father Matt, because he wants to know them personally, not just a face in the crowd. So even the Filipinos, I don't know that many Filipinos at the time. And so thank God for my husband. He's a very big support. We had I said, we'll plan it this way. Every month, we'll have different ethnic groups to meet with Father Matt, even 10 to 15. And it was so hard to get them to agree, just to meet them, so that, and we would stand at the parking lot after each Mass on Sundays. And if we see somebody from a different country, we would approach them, and introduce ourselves. That's how it started.
Okay.
So then, by, I think about 2 or 3 weeks before, everything changed. I got emails, I got phone calls, they want to participate. And I said, this is how the Holy Spirit works. You tested us.
I think what I really appreciate the way that you incorporated it was that it wasn't like, okay, well, we'll have, a Mass in Tagalog and we'll have a Mass in Spanish, or it was, how do we take traditions from these various communities and incorporate them in and share them with everybody, like Simbongabi, that became something that, it wasn't just for the Filipinos to come and relive their life in the Philippines. It was really everyone invited, and everybody really participated and got something out of it. So thank you so much for what you've done there. Well, I conclude each of these interviews asking my guests the same set of questions. Gives us a little insight into who you are. So the first one is, what is your favorite word?
Favorite word? Try. Try.
Trying. What about you, Ed?
Never give up.
What is your least favorite word?
Something like I can't do it, something like that. It's a kind of negative on the negative side.
Okay. What turns you on? What gets you excited?
Oh, my children, my grandchildren, my family, yeah, they come first. So anything if we have the family involved, I'm all for that. Okay.
What about you, Ed?
I guess it would be also the family, especially the grandchildren. So we have two boys that we love.
What turns you off?
Oh, inconsiderate people, really.
Why did you say inconsiderate?
What turns you off?
Well, something like people that wouldn't try at least.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, that's what a good one. I like the sound of the waves and the waterfalls and the breeze and the birds, the singing birds, this kind of sound.
Okay.
I love the sound of soothing music, relaxing music.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
Those people who scream and shout that they think they are singing, but they're just shouting in my ears, I just turn them off.
I don't like the water drip, the faucet dripping.
The faucet dripping. Good. Who is your favorite saint?
I have several.
Gotta pick
It
one.
depends on if I lose something, I know deep in my heart I will find it if I go
Oh.
to St. Jude.
St. Jude.
St. Jude. There are times that for St. Therese Lisieux, the little flower, it's miraculous. And there are so many, depends on what I need. But actually, this is not saint, but I always turn to the Holy Spirit.
Actually, I could have more than one. My prayer before going to bed, I always ask Saint Philomena because I've been involved at 5 wounds in their Latin Mass. And at the end of the Mass, they always have the relics of Saint Philomena and oil given to us when I was still member of the Color Corps. And then Mother Teresa, Father Pio, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and now the Venerable Father Michael McGibney. And those are the person that included my last and final prayer at night before I go to bed.
Okay. What ministry, other than one you've done, would you like to attempt?
At this stage of my life, I don't think I have enough energy to do anything more than I am involved with. Anything where what I can do is stationary, where it doesn't involve too much walking. Meals to Heal.
Okay.
That's an active one that I'm okay with that for now.
Okay.
Well, I'm a member of that, so, but I don't intend to have another one.
You're retired.
I am retired.
There are a lot of things, and so I encourage the younger people, do whatever you can do at our age now. It's all wishful thinking.
Okay. All right. I guess the answer to this next one is probably all of them. What ministry would you not like to do?
Oh, I have Well, actually, I tried, but I could not do it because I get too emotional. The homebound ministries, I wanted to do that, but I'm afraid I will be so affected. I don't know.
What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, if I get to reach that stage, I hope I will, and He would say, "Welcome home," and I hope I did the best I could when I could. Well done, I hope, my child. I hope.
What was your question again?
What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh. I remember a pastor said, "You're only good as to the gate. You'll never pass the gate."
Is that what you want to hear God say? You're never going to get through?
Well, everybody wants to go to pass the gate, and of course I do pray that I'll be able to overcome that and be allowed to go through that and be accepted as one of the flocks.
I had a Bible teacher, say to me, it's like, when you get there, you just point at Jesus and say, "I'm with him." Well, thank you so much for taking the time today to be my guest.
Oh,
Really
thank
enjoyed
you.
our conversation.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Scott.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You too.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Thank you, Ed and Nita, for sitting down and talking with me. If you'd like to be part of an upcoming episode, talk to Christina in the parish office. We'd love to get to know you too. Till next time, God bless you.